What's up, Transformers fans? I'm Mondo, and this is another Moonbase 84 transmission. And today I'm checking out the Transformers 1 Prime Changers Optimus Prime. But quickly before I do, if you could hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and all that jazz, I would greatly appreciate it. So here we have the Prime Changers Optimus Prime in truck mode, and he is a really good looking little figure in truck mode. As we take a closer look, he does definitely evoke the alt mode for Prime in TF1. You get some nice sculpted details, very little paint. It's all just the molded plastic pretty much. And we will do a comparison to the Studio Series TF1 Prime, which I already reviewed on the channel if you want to check that out. So there's a side, you can store his Energon X there. And that will come into play obviously also in robot mode. You do get a little paint up here, some silver here, which of course traditionally, as most primes go, are his legs in robot mode. His smokestacks or whatever, they're blasters. They're not really smokestacks, but you know, it's that smokestack aesthetic. Do rotate, and you can use them as his thrusters or his guns. Oops. He's got some nice sculpted detail on the side there. Swing around to the front, he has a hit of blue for his windscreen, and a little bit of yellow. You can see some nice details on the grill. And then of course the side is the same, and there's the back, a little hollow but nothing too bad. Some more silver paint there. Underneath, folded up robot. So yeah, pretty cool. He does have the wheels on the inside with like the coverings, and he rolls all right, not bad, even on my surface, so pretty cool. So all in all, a nice little TF1 Prime truck. For a comparison of truck modes, here is the Studio Series Prime. And what I will say is on this Prime Changers Prime, I love what they did with the engineering for the arms. Much better than the Studio Series. Again, I talked about that on the video for the Studio Series. But where they just like left his arms hanging out, holding on to these tabs. The Prime Changer actually tried to do something to make them more like not arms. Of course, you can tell that they are arms, but it's not so blatant, and they fold them up and put them in the back. So I think that is a much better job in engineering on the Prime Changers over the Studio Series. But anyway, here they are side by side. As you can see, the Prime Changers Prime is significantly smaller than the Studio Series. And here they look from the front. The Prime Changers doesn't have the guns and coming out of the grill. But still, for the price point and what it is, this is a nice little TF1 Prime. Not quite as detailed, but in my opinion, at least as far as the truck mode goes right now, engineered a little bit better than the Studio Series. And as always, I'm going to get this guy transformed up off camera, and we will take a closer look at his robot mode. And here we have the TF1 Prime Changers Prime in robot mode, and he's looking like quite the cool little robot. And I say little, that'll come into play in a little bit here. But like I said, he came out pretty nice, especially for what he is. Remember, the Prime Changers is like the warrior class for Cyberverse / RID 2015, where it's like a more kid focused main line at a cheaper price point. So they're kind of like budget deluxes, I guess you'd say. A little bit less engineering and articulation and things like that. In general, not always, but so we'll take a closer look at him. And I've got to say, I don't know if I said it before, but I really like the design aesthetic of the Transformers 1 movie from what I'm seeing so far, and especially the design for Optimus Prime, especially his head sculpt, and this one is no different. It's just really cool. Of course, on his chest, you get the front of his windscreen again for his chest with some blue, some yellow. But now we have some nice detail on the abs and in the forearms. We get some more silver here. There's a bit of silver here too on his shins. Or thighs, I should say, shins. Know your anatomy. And of course that silver goes down to there, down his legs. And much like the Studio Series, he's pretty tidied up, nice and clean with the backpack tight to his back. So that's pretty cool. A little hollow, but not too bad. The most hollowness, I would say, is in his thighs and in his forearms. And he also comes, if I can flip it out, let's see. There we go. Maybe. A little removable matrix. So that's a nice addition for the Prime Changer. And he can hold it. I'm not going to do that because it's a pain for my big fat fingers to get out. And additionally, he comes with his Energon axe, which is a nice like baby blue. But it's weird on this one. You can see here, this is his part of his finger sculpted on. So for this one, it's like the axe comes out of the palm of his hand, which is a bit odd to me, but yeah, still pretty cool. I will say for problems, I don't know if I'm unlucky or not, but the fists don't seem to want to, they don't like sit very well. The top, they're pegged in, and the top peg doesn't seat very well, so they are kind of loose, this one. But it's a shame because this one is even worse, and it makes it, well, yeah, see, now you can see it's very floppy when you put the extra weight of the axe. Hopefully everybody's copy's not like that. Let me know in the comments, because I actually debated over going to pick up another one to see if I have better luck. So that is a little shame, but again, I can't take that away from the figure because I don't know if it's just my copy or not. And the other problem is, see, when I go to take the axe out, his fist pops right out. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen on everybody's copies, and I definitely am toying with the idea of going to pick up another one, so I hopefully have better results. It does pop right back in, but again, it doesn't really seat. The top peg isn't quite long enough to seat properly, is what I'm thinking. Now, I've also said that usually I enjoy the Warrior class slash budget deluxes and other lines like Earthspark and Cyberverse, and this Prime Changer's Prime is no different. And he's just kind of fun to mess around with it, and that's due also to, he has some really nice articulation. His head's on a ball. It can look very far up due to transformation. Not a lot of tilt, but he's got some nice range in his arms. You know, he's got everything pretty much. No wrist though. He does have a waist. I think the only thing he's pretty much lacking is, as you can see, his legs go all over, and you got the thigh swivel, is wrists and no ankles at all. So those are the only two things he's really missing. I kind of wish they could have put in at least a little leg ankle tilt there, but still pretty fun. You can get some nice poses with him, decent poses. So I did mention that I would explain why I call him a nice little Prime, and that all comes down to this. This is the Prime Changer's Bumblebee, which I also reviewed, and look at how off the scaling is. Not only is Bumblebee a bit taller, he's actually, I believe, wider, and if he's not, oh yeah, he's wider. He's taller and wider, so the scaling is definitely off. And unfortunately, that's something we see a lot with, especially with the Earthspark mainline. Their scaling was really off. You had Twitch, who's a little bot bigger than the Prime Deluxe Prime. So like, yeah, I really wish, I know it's a lower price point, but I wish they would at least do better to scale. And if they don't think kids care about that, I remember being a kid back in '84 when Transformers came out, and noticing the scaling on some of those were really off, as we all know. And I mean, I didn't hate the toys, of course, I love them, but I did notice it, and my friends noticed it, and we actually would comment, I wish he was this size and this size. So kids aren't dumb, Hasbro, and sometimes they too would like properly scaled figures. So that just looks funny to me, and it's unfortunate, because if you just wanted to collect the Prime Changers line and you cared about how they look together, this definitely isn't going to work. And actually this guy scales much better with the Studio Series Prime. So that is my look at the Transformers 1 Prime Changers Optimus Prime. And final thoughts, he has a lot of nice things going for him and some weird wonky decisions that become negatives. Again, I'm not going to add the loose wrist because that could have been just a QC issue on mine, hopefully, which is a shame, but I can't say I don't like the figure because of it. Do I wish it was better? Yes. And as I said, I may track another one down and grab another one and check that out, and hopefully it works better, basically. The one thing I will say is that in a lot of ways, I do wish they took this engineering, threw more detail on it, and made it bigger, and made this the Studio Series. Took this base Prime, you know, doctored it up to be more Studio Series quality, because I think it looks a lot nicer in truck mode, specifically with the placement of the arms. It's probably not as show accurate, but to me, I would rather have something that's a little off from the show, or the movie I should say, than that. Because to me, I don't know, I'm usually not super picky, but to me, for a Studio Series, I'll say again, that is just lazy, especially for the price point. So I kind of wish they took this engineering, gave it more detail. You could have even made a panel to close up that forearm gap, and made this, and scale it up and make this the Studio Series. But anyway, as for him himself, he is a lot of fun. Another thing he doesn't have, which I love, is that flappable hip piece the Studio Series does, that constantly seems to want to pop off and is just a pain. So overall, if I'm looking at both primes, I actually enjoy this prime better, but it's a shame that, again, the scale is off. So that is a shame. So for a fun Transformers 1 Prime figure to mess around with, fun, great little figure. If you want him to go with the rest of your Prime Changers and have them look right, not so much. But he will probably replace my Cyberverse Prime and my Earthspark Prime for a while as being my fiddle figure, because he's newer and I'm excited about the movie. But yeah, I feel about him much the same way as I feel about those guys. Nice, fun figures, and again, those lines were out of scale as well too. So cool, mess around with figure, Prime figure for adults, and I'm sure kids would love him too. With that being said, comment to let me know what Prime you like better, the Prime Changers or the Studio Series. And as always, thanks for docking.